Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel. November 14th, 2017.
2:05 here on the great WRKO. Okay, before I even get into the monologue, I want to ask all of you, every single one of you, the Kuhner Country Poll question of the day, sponsored by Bill Kelly Financial Services. Should Mass state judges be elected? As you know, they're currently appointed. They are part of the Hackorama, immensely corrupt. Personally, I think it's an incredibly corrupt system. But do you think state judges here in Massachusetts, I know it's not going to happen, but in theory, should they be elected? Do you think they should be elected? Should we have a new system? If you believe the answer is yes, text the letter A to 680-680, and candidly, I'm a yes all the way. Or if you think no, judiciary should be independent from the legislative branch, away from the passions of the people, and should be more aloof and more objective and impartial. So judges should not be elected. They should be appointed, as they are, for example, in the federal system. In other words, no. Text the letter B to 680-680. As always, you can vote online at WRKO.com. The reason is obviously the case involving Judge Bebo's daughter, Ali Bebo. And in particular, very quickly, here is what happened. Ali Bebo crashed her car. She is the judge, as I said, of a prominent Worcester County judge, Judge Timothy Bebo, arch moonbat, complete Democratic hack, but let that go. She, in fact, was a former toll taker. So she herself, the daughter, was also not just the daughter of a hack, but a hack herself. Okay, she was a toll taker on the Mass Pike. That's when she had a job. She was drunk. She was driving under the influence. She smashed her car. 2 state troopers came to the scene. They found her not only intoxicated, but they also found a heroin kit beside her. She then revealed that she's the daughter of Judge Bebo, and in fact admitted, listen to this, that she's also, a prostitute. That she sells her body, sells her services, sex, in exchange for money, which is how she pays for her heroin addiction. She then offered to service one of the 2 police officers, saying, look, what I do for my heroin, I can do for you. Let's just pretend this didn't happen. The 2 police officers, and I think they're real heroes, a man and a woman, Ryan Sevior and Ali Ray, both of whom were so disgusted by her behavior, they wrote down everything into the police report, as they should have. And of course, they rejected her requests. As they put it, they found her behavior not just outrageous, but utterly beyond the pale. And so they wrote everything down. They were then illegally ordered by their police commanders to protect the judge, protect his daughter. They were ordered to not just alter the police report, but in fact, one of them, Ali Ray, was told to actually shred parts of the court administrative report. So they were told to destroy court documents as well as deliberately alter the police report. All in order to protect this hack judge. Now, to their credit, they risked their careers because they refused to suppress damaging evidence that people above them were deliberately tampering, destroying, and altering evidence and police reports and court records in order to protect the reputation of the daughter of this powerful hack judge. the head of the state troopers, Colonel Richard McKean, essentially was forced to retire. Okay, rather than fire him, which is what they should have done, because he's the one that actually gave the orders. They, how do I say this? They pressured him into retirement. So that hack, after 35 years of service, gets to keep his pension, gets to keep all of his benefits, and essentially, at least for now, is leaving with the slap on the wrist. $188,000 is his pension? That is obscene. That is disgusting. By the way, you and I pay for that. All these hacks, these $140,000, $50,000, $60,000, $170,000, $180,000 a year pensions, for the rest of their lives, we pay for that. You want to know why we're going bankrupt? You want to know why they have to keep raising our taxes? Or putting up tolls, or in this case, harassing us while we're jaywalking with looking at phones? They got to get the money somehow. He was making $251,000 a year. Are you kidding me, Brittany?
No, I'm not kidding.
For sitting behind a desk. Holy mackerel. Okay, so anyway, they forced this guy into retirement. Basically, they're trying to cover this thing up, okay? And he gets his $188,000 a year pension. However, his supervisor was also the one who ordered it. And now we're finding out that there are other people at the top of the food chain who deliberately ordered it. But it gets even worse. We're finding out because according to Colonel McKean, what he has now admitted is that this is routine. That in fact, in his words, he has altered, quote, his words, not mine, quote, hundreds, if not thousands of police reports. And so the question now is this. So how many other state judges, how many other of their kids or nephews or nieces or friends or cronies did they were able to expunge police reports or get charges dropped against them or alter or destroy evidence because they were part of the hackorama? In other words, it's like a rotten onion. The more you peel, the more corrupt it gets and the more you have to keep peeling away. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Charlie Baker has now come out and said there will be an investigation. He says it will be thorough, independent, and comprehensive. Let me go on the record right now. I don't believe him. He's a liar. Let me repeat that. I don't believe him. He's a liar. Because immediately he came out without a proper investigation and said that Colonel McKean, his decision to alter the police report was not malicious, that his intent was just an error in judgment. According to Chicken Charlie Faker, it was a mistake. How do you know that? You haven't even done a thorough investigation and you're already basically semi-exonerating the guy. Claiming, well, I think it was an honest mistake. How do you know? You're already trying to sweep this under the rug before you've even launched an official investigation. And I'll tell you why. Because one of the most corrupt aspects of Massachusetts is that pretty much anybody can become a state judge. Let me be candid with you, okay? Like I'm in the confessional. When I grew up, I used to look up to judges. Because I thought, in all honesty, these were people of the law. These were people with, a lot of education, a lot of wisdom, a lot of experience. They were genuinely objective and impartial. They held up the rule of law against the passions of the public. And that these were men of truly outstanding qualifications in character. Not in Massachusetts. No. I mean, there's Clarence Thomas. There's Antonin Scalia. There's some excellent people up on the Supreme Court and in federal judges. No question about it. But here, it's disgusting. So, how did Bebo become a judge? He was a big campaign contributor to, remember him, Tim Crash Murray. So you see, the way you get a judgeship in Massachusetts is you essentially buy one. So if you're a good enough campaign contributor or a big-time donor or an ally or a political friend, a crony, guess what? You want a judgeship? You got a judgeship. And here's what's most disgusting of all, because it's your money. Look, I've always said this, and I'm not going to run from this. If the people of this great Commonwealth were 1/10, not half, 1/10 as interested in what went on in the affairs of this state as they are about their local sports teams, whether it be the Patriots, the Celtics, the Bruins, the Red Sox, there would be no freaking corruption in this state at all. Instead, it's bread and circuses, baby. Hand out the welfare checks and let them just talk sports all day. Have an obsession with sports. Because one of the biggest rackets in the state are the state judgeships. And so a couple of years ago, now these are a lot of state judges. There's a big bloated state judiciary, okay, here in Massachusetts. The state judges got a $30,000 pay raise. I'm not talking about the crooks and politicians on Beacon Hill. The judges got a couple of years ago $30K pay raise a year. Last year, January 1st, $6,000. Actually, a bit more, $6,500. July 1st, another $6,500. Guess what? This year, what are we now today, Brittany? What are they, 14th, whatever it is, November 15th?
14th.
Okay, 14th. January 1st, 2017, they're getting all of them, no matter what, regardless whether their qualifications, their performance, everyone's getting another $6,500 pay increase, and then in July 1st, another $6,500. By the middle of next summer, a state judge will make, listen to this, $185,000 a year. Plus gold-plated health care plan. Plus an incredible pension. Plus dental, eye care, sick days, vacation days, and they only work 35 weeks a year. They don't even work a full week. Okay, but let that go. They're not working 40 hours. They don't work Monday to Friday 40 hours. But let that go. They're off 17 weeks of the year. They have more freaking holidays and time off than teachers. 35 weeks a year they work. $185,000. You want to know the biggest mistake that Jeff Kuhner ever made in his life? I'm going to say it right now. Well, the biggest one, I should have been an illegal, okay? But let that go. No. When Bill Cooksey invited me 5 years ago to come on and do a morning show here on WRKO, I should have said no thanks, hung up, and then given a big campaign contribution to Mini-Me Deval Patrick. I don't know, a couple $1,000. And he would say, okay, what's your price? I want a state judgeship. I could be making $185,000 a year, putting my feet up, working 35 weeks a year, the best health care plan, the best pension in the world, summers in Cape Cod, and basically do nothing all day. And then, if my Ashton or Ava crash my car because they're drunk as a skunk, or they're heroin addicts, or they're prostitutes selling themselves to get stoned or shoot up on heroin, I could have the police alter the reports. So I ask you, who's the sucker? 617-266-6868. It'll never happen. But one of the best reforms we could ever make in this state, no more appointments for these state hack judges. They should be elected. Because even if they're corrupt, then we can hold them accountable at the ballot box. Give power back to the people. I say fire every freaking state judge in this Commonwealth. And then if they still want their job, go out and earn it. Go out and campaign for it. In other words, vote them in. Give power back to the people. Agree, disagree, all of your calls. Next. You know, I swear to you, these judges, these state hacks, they're more corrupt than the criminals. Okay, Lisa, who is an attorney from Peabody, is on first. Go ahead, Lisa.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi.
Yes, it's attorney Lisa Belanger, and I've been practicing law for 21 years in Massachusetts, and I have extensive experience dealing with this judicial lawlessness, and basically a large part of it you can see in the probate and family court system. I don't know if you saw this past issue with Lonnie Brennan's Boston broadside. I have a full-page ad for class action lawsuit investigation showing for exploitation of elderly by probate court appointed officials who are actually private attorneys that are appointed by the court. So they're private practicing attorneys, and they do the court appointments as well.
That is incredible. Lisa, I want to ask you this. Is there any way, as somebody who knows the legal system in Massachusetts like the back of her hand, is there any way that we could eventually have a new system whereby judges would have to face the voters, that there would be an election?
The system needs to be entirely revamped. In fact, let me just bring up this point because there is no accountability. Okay, I personally, last December, in fact, December 1st of last year, filed a civil complaint to Charlie Baker himself, to the lieutenant governor, to his legal counsel, to the executive agency for the Supreme Judicial Court nominating commission, and they refuse to even respond to me. Not even one letter to say, we've received your complaint. Charlie Baker refuses to even respond in any manner whatsoever.
That's incredible. So elderly people are being abused, and the family court system is complicit of the abuse of elderly people, and the governor of this state doesn't give a damn?
Well, I filed a federal lawsuit in 2015, a RICO complaint, that I'm still fighting, and I've been able to show through 4 years of documentation that of money laundering, embezzlement, and Judge Burroughs put in her motion, in her orders, it's too long to read. They do not want to look at the evidence. Never has there been a denial of anything I ever say. In fact, the most important thing is after 5 years where they've actually kidnapped, for lack of a word for that, my father, who is also an attorney. In fact, Lonnie Brennan did a 4-part series on it.
Lisa, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, and thank you for that call. Look, I've been saying this now for a while, that we need a real conservative media outlet, a newspaper outside of this show that's exclusive to Boston. Okay, I know Howie's, he does great work, but he's syndicated, he's regional, he's in New England. And to me, the Boston Herald has become a rhino rag. The Boston Globe has become has been a liberal rag. That's why I love the Boston Broadside. And that's why I plug the Boston Broadside, because it is the only true conservative newspaper in this state. So go to bostonbroadside.com, and I hope all of you will subscribe. It's not very much, because Lonnie Brennan does a phenomenal job. And these judges, we now have to shed spotlight. We have to cast sunlight on them, put a spotlight on them, because sunlight is the best disinfectant. And my question is an obvious one, and I want to ask you if you agree or disagree. Why the hell does Judge Bebo still have a job? How come Judge Bebo hasn't been disbarred and fired? And instead, there he is, collecting his salary, while he's part of this conspiracy to destroy records and alter a police report and cover up for his daughter? Enough is enough. It's time to bring the hackorama down. 617-266-6868. Should Judge Bebo go? Let's take it to Evan Heidenrich with the latest news developments in the newsroom. 2:37 here on the great WRKO. 617-266-6868 if you want to be part of the show. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer, cleaning up the liberal bull. Okay, the poll question of the day, sponsored by Bill Kelly Financial Services. Should we elect judges here in Massachusetts? Should state judges be elected? They're currently appointed. Almost all of them are hacks. Would electing them improve the system? If you believe the answer is yes, text the letter A to 680-680. If you believe the answer is no, text the letter B to 680-680. As always, you can vote online at WRKO.com. Brittany, what are the poll results thus far?
No surprise here. 94% yes, 6% no.
I'm not saying it's going to be a cure-all, but it can't get worse. Let's just put it that way. It can't get any worse. To me, what's incredible, why does Judge Timothy Bebo still have a job? Like that to me is... to me, it's mind-blowing that this guy has not been forced off the bench, disbarred, fired, whatever you want to call it. The two state troopers who heroically risked their careers to not suppress this evidence, they refused to take illegal orders, are now suing. They both fear for their jobs. They both fear retaliation. And so both are now pursuing lawsuits. And I say, God bless them. Laura, you're up next. Go ahead, Laura.
Hi, Jeff. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Laura?
I had to take an Ativan just from listening to your show. I really wish that attorney that called in earlier, I wish her all the best, and I wish she'd reach out to me. The area in which I live is Somerville, and those judges there, oh, my God, every single one of them are in bed with the police, with the politicians. I have filed numerous Judicial Conduct Committee complaints, and look who looks those over. They're attorneys or they're former judges who actually look those over. As a matter of fact, when I asked for a specific judge to remove himself, he called me a liar in there, not once but twice. And he said, well, I can remove myself with somebody else. I said, no, I want a change of district. Well, the day I was supposed to go in, he turned around and had his boss from Salem, Robert Brennan, come in there. And in my letter, I had wrote to Brennan along with the Judicial Conduct Committee, and he actually made a comment to me saying, you've been treated fairly and this and that. Let me tell you something. I had a judge in there 5 years ago throw me and my autistic son out through a no-fault eviction. Who does that? When I asked him per the ADA law, I said, I'm allowed to have a little bit of time. I had been looking. I had 5 pages of searches, and I also had 2 affidavits from 2 different rental agents saying they'd never seen such discrimination with regards to a person trying to get an apartment who had a Section 8. Okay, there was another time when there was a police report in Medford that the officer actually he embellished. He lied on his report. I had a witness, and the officer tried to say that I was yelling and screaming and everything else. He turned around and called BSS on me and my son, at which, of course, that got dismissed. But everything that had happened, and then there was another judge in Somerville who actually told me I had no credibility. I mean, I'm wondering if I should just go in there and lie, and maybe they'll believe me. I've never seen anything like it in my life. Never.
Laura, I'm just curious, how can these judges in Somerville, well, look at Mayor Curtatone. Okay, look at, Ayo, Curtatone. I mean, just look at that phony and fraud, that political gangster. So you can see where they take their lead from. But, Laura, I'm just curious, how can these judges behave with such reckless disregard, with such disrespect, with such impunity, and not be held accountable?
Because they can. That's my answer, because they can. I had written to everybody telling him this story that all I needed was a little bit of time. And for 5 pages of all housing searches, this guy didn't believe me. And to be called a liar and you're pouring your blood, sweat, and tears and your heart out saying, but I have the proof. I told him, you never once looked in my folder. You never once looked at any of the information I gave to you. And I'm not the only one in there. Judge Yee, he's no bargain either. They're all corrupt in that. The only time I ever have luck is in probate, I'll tell you that right now. But as a matter of fact, I called up, what's his name, from the council there, Lawrence? Oh, my God. Who do you call the people that oversee the judges that get appointed to that?
Now, and I take it now, are they judges as well?
No, these are people that
or former judges?
Why do I want to say this? No, these are people that we elect to oversee the judges. They're not judges. They're just people on the council. I called that man. He's from Everett. I can't remember his last name, but I called him and I said, listen, this is what's going on. You're in charge of appointing these judges. And he said, well, yeah, but he's going to retire soon anyway. So in the meantime, he can just go and ruin everybody else. Let me tell you, did you ever go on to the Roving Room? Go on to the rovingroom.com, and you can pull up any name of a judge. Look up Judge Yee in Somerville. Look up Judge Flynn. You can see all the comments, not just from
I believe you.
Like
Laura, I believe you 100%. And I want to
look up the ones from the attorneys, even the attorneys.
Yeah, the Governor's Council. Yeah, it's called the Governor's Council.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, Laura, look, they're a pack of thieves. I'm telling you, they're thick as thieves. Because they're not real judges. That's my point. They're hacks. You're a campaign contributor? No problem. State judgeship. You're a political crony or an ally? No problem. Here's a state judgeship. Whatever. You're somebody's nephew. You're somebody's son. You're somebody's daughter. Whatever. You're politically connected. No problem. You want a judgeship? $185,000 a year? Vacation days, sick days, health care, pension. You only work 35 weeks of the year? Not that you're working those weeks, but still. That's 17 weeks off. No problem. Put them on. And you know who pays for it? You and me. And so when Jeff Kuhner comes along and says, maybe it's time for a tax revolt, maybe it's time for us to take our government back, maybe we should know what's going on with our money that we work for, I'm the extremist. No, really, I swear, I'm the extremist. This state is corrupt from head to toe. And that's why I call it, it's a mafia state. It's one-party rule. That's why you need to have real competition, real transparency, and real accountability. Elect the judges. I'm not saying it's going to solve all your problems, but at least the people have some kind of a voice. Now we have no voice. Peter in Haverhill. Go ahead, Peter.
Hi, Jeff. This is Pete, first-time caller.
Welcome, Pete. Welcome.
I just wanted to let you know that, we're really going to hell in a handbasket in this country. I think that judge should be canned immediately. He probably should be held for taking care of a criminal. Or what do they call that when you have a criminal in your home and you're hiding them?
Yeah, harboring a criminal or aiding and abetting.
Aiding and abetting a criminal, right. The 2 state troopers that went against him, they should be set aside, given a good, substantial raise in their salary, and let them go around the country and look, or the state, and look at these judges that are doing this sort of these things, harboring criminals. It's just disgusting. We live in a state, my father had a 3rd grade education, and he had a good example as to what these people are. He called them educated fools. And that's what's happening in this country. We have too many of these educated fools that are dealing with us.
Pete, thank you for that call. Jimmy in Dorchester, you're up next. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Hi, Jeff. I got to tell you about 22 cases that I've witnessed in Quincy Court, Dedham Court, and in Dorchester. Predators, where the judges, when they get a predator and they've had like 25, 30 convictions, what do you think the judges are giving them? 30 days in Bridgewater. 30 days in Bridgewater after what they've done to a child under the age of 14. 30 days in Bridgewater. 22 cases. They don't have the prison to put them in, so they're giving them 30 days in Bridgewater instead of putting them to 18 months or 2 years in prison. Then they're giving them time in Bridgewater. That's the way the liberal system works now, Jeff.
It's going to collapse. Like I'm just telling you, this is not sustainable. So they may be living high on the hog for now, but it's going to come to an end. The party is going to come to an end because they're going to run out of money. They're going to run out of money. Our money. They're going to run eventually out of our money. Look, I want you to think about what went on here, okay? The daughter of a judge smashed her car, drunk as a skunk, with heroin beside her, who brags to state troopers that she's a prostitute, she's a hooker, and that she sells her body for sex and takes the money and buys the drugs, and then propositions the state trooper saying, I will service you right here, right now. Take the back of the car, I'll service you. Full service. Just don't write up a report. Just let me walk. And these 2 cops are told to destroy records and alter the police report? And the guy that gave the order, the head of the state troopers, he's the head of this, was, Colonel McKean, however you pronounce his last name, is given a golden parachute, and he's not fired, but in fact, think of this, listen to this, is pushed into quote-unquote retirement, where he's going to make $188,000 a year. And the guy that's supposed to be investigating this, Charlie Faker, the governor, says, it was just an honest mistake. I don't think nothing malicious there. Are you kidding me? I mean, really, this is the stuff that happens in Croatia. This is the stuff that happens in Eastern Europe. It's not supposed to happen here. So I go back to where I started. If the people of this state spent 1/10 of the time caring about the actual affairs of this state, as they do with the Patriots, Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, the Celtics, Kyrie Irving, the Boston Bruins, the Boston Red Sox, are the fans racist, are the fans not racist, Alex Carrera, the new manager, is it good that he's a Latino, but he doesn't, is it time to have a minority as, that's all they talk about. Yak, 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 yak. All day. If they spent 1/10 of their attention on what really goes on with their money, on things that affect their very lives, there wouldn't be a scintilla of corruption in the state. Instead, the hackorama lives on and on and on, Well, I got news for you. Kuhner Country is here, and we're not taking no for an answer. Charlie Baker, we're coming for you. 617-266-6868, because the party is over. 256 here on the great WRKO. You can text us as always, 680-680. This is from 617. Jeff, you referred to Boston Red Sox manager as Alex Carrera. It's Alex Cora, you moron. Get the name right. You see, that's my point. If you guys cared about this state with the same conviction that you guys care about how I refer to the Boston Red Sox manager, there wouldn't be a freaking problem. That's exactly my point. Now, let me throw one more quick log on the fire, okay? Because this is what the Moonbats do. So, there was a huge drug bust in Tewksbury. Now, listen to this. This is the future of Massachusetts if we, Kuhner Country, don't draw the last line of resistance, if we don't make our stand now. So, big drug bust. It was in Tewksbury. They basically found an illegal drug gang. It was a drug gang full of illegal aliens. They raided the apartment. 3 people were arrested. They found cocaine, heroin, and fentanyl. In fact, they found over $100,000 worth of drugs in the apartment, $8,000 in cash. But the cops were so horrified when they made the raid, along with the Drug Enforcement Administration, when the DEA, when they came in with the raid, they found a 9-month-old baby, literally several feet away from the fentanyl stash. The baby could have been killed. It's that deadly of an opiate. And here is the kicker. The ringleader, he goes by the name of Wilson Soto, is, you guessed it, an illegal alien. In fact, they were all illegal aliens who had previously been deported several times. And you know what? He's got not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, 5 aliases. 5. I swear, 5. So, he goes by the name Wilson Soto. They fingerprinted him. Guess what? He had previously used the names Julio Moreno Morales. Then he used Juan Antonio Baez Castillo. Then he used Wilson Isienia Rodriguez. I mean, he's got multiple driver's licenses, multiple social security numbers. And what do the libs want? They want to make Massachusetts a sanctuary state. So I don't know what his real name is, Wilson Soto, Rodriguez, Morales, whatever, so we can have more illegal immigrants and gangbangers and drug traffickers. They can all come into Massachusetts. So we can have fentanyl for every baby out there. And turn the whole state into Tewksbury. My friends, liberalism is a mental disorder. Bye-bye.
The voice of Boston is you. 680 WRKO Boston, 93.7 WEEI HD2 Lawrence, Boston. It's 3 o'clock.